So check this out. Carol Dweck and her colleagues wanted to look into the impacts that praise had on children's development. So what they did is they took over 400 fifth grade students from all across the nation, and they did a really simple yet interesting study. Here's how it went down. They gave all the kids a really easy nonverbal IQ test. There were 10 questions, and at the end of the test, they praised all the children in one of two ways. The first group was praised for their intelligence. So they said, "Wow, great job, you must be really smart at this." Now the second group was praised for their effort. So they said, "Wow, great job, you must have worked really hard at this." Now this is a really subtle difference, but the impact it had is incredible. So after praising the kids and getting them divided up into the two groups, they gave them all an option for their next test. The first option was, hey, this next test is going to be a little bit harder, but it's going to be a great opportunity to learn and grow. Now the second option was, this next test will be similar to the first, and you will surely do well on it. Now the interesting thing is, out of the group that was praised for their intelligence, 67% of them chose the easier option, while 92% of the kids who were praised for their effort chose the harder test. This is unbelievable to think about, how just the subtle difference in the way that they were praised had such an impact. Carol Dweck explains why this happens.
The child or adult hears, "Oh, you think I'm brilliant and talented. That's why you admire me. That's why you value me. I better not do anything that will disprove this evaluation." As a result, they enter a fixed mindset, they play it safe in the future, and they limit the growth of their talents. Whereas focusing on the strategies they use, the way they're stretching themselves and taking on hard tasks, the intense practice they're doing, those are the kinds of things that say to a child or an older athlete, it's about the process of growth. As a result, they don't feel, oh, if I make a mistake, you won't think I'm talented. They think, oh, if I don't take on hard things and stick to them, I'm not going to grow.
Next, Dweck and her colleagues gave all the kids a really difficult test. It was one that they would surely fail, but they wanted to look at how the different kids attacked this challenge. Dweck noticed that the group that was praised for effort worked harder, longer, and actually enjoyed this test more than the group that was praised for their intelligence. This group got really frustrated with this test and had the tendency to give up early. After this artificially induced failure round, all of the kids were given a third and final test. Now this test was the same level of difficulty as the first one, but check out the results. The group that was praised for their intelligence actually did worse on this test than the first one. Their average score actually dropped by 20%, while the group that was praised for their effort did significantly better, raising their average score by nearly 30%. This is a 50% difference in performance that was caused by a few subtle differences in the way that they were praised. This study shows how praise can either make or break a child's development. I mean, we all do it. We all want to be positive with the children we work with, so teachers, coaches, parents are always looking for ways to support their kids and tend to praise them quite a bit. So we need to look at research like this and realize, okay, praise is a good thing and there's nothing wrong with being positive, but we need to be very careful about praising someone's intelligence or abilities and focus more on the process and the effort that they put forth. I think this is a pretty easy fix that will help us develop growth mindsets within the kids that we work with. And as all the research shows, having a growth mindset has a big time impact on the development of a child, whether it's on the court, in the classroom, or just in life.
So why one more PD about growth mindset? We hear about growth mindset, which is very hard to say 3 times fast. And the bottom line is that you, our wonderful educators, are the gateway to our children's hearts and minds. And your interaction with our kids is vitally important. And the way you perceive yourself and our kids is vitally important. You are influencing our next generation of thinkers, problem solvers, lovers, savers of the planet. We want to support you in creating the most beautiful experience kids can possibly have in school with the people who spend 8 hours a day with them. So let's check out some of the ways that Symphony Math supports growth mindset and supports you in creating that amazing set of children, of thinkers.
The children are praised for either their intelligence,
"Wow, you did really well. You must be really smart at these."
or the effort they made.
"Wow, you did really well. You must have tried really hard at these."
Okay, did anyone else just see that and go, wait, that's it? That's all we have to do? Not quite, but it's amazing to see like what a subtle shift will do for a child's perception of themselves. All right, so now we're actually going to look at what Symphony has embedded to create those same supports. When you log into your Symphony dashboard, click on the Support tab, and under Curriculum Resources, at the beginning of each stage, if you click the little caret, you will see that there's a student introduction video at the beginning of each stage. Each of these videos gives the student some insight into what they'll be expected to do in the next stage, but it also gives them some growth mindset reinforcement. So let's look at one.
Stage 1, the number sequence. Mathematicians use numbers, and in Stage 1, you will work with numbers in many different ways. You will use dot cards, number bars, number lines, and written numbers too. Each new way of using numbers makes your brain grow. Do your best and remember to try another way if you get stuck. You can do it. 8/7 plus 6/7 equals 14/7.
Let's pause for a minute. This task was hard for you, and so it's a good opportunity for you to learn. Draw the task in your Symphony Math journal or on a piece of paper. If it doesn't make sense to you, talk about the model with a teacher or classmate. When you're done, press the OK button to move on.
"70, 70, 80. Use the speaker button to repeat the directions. After you hear them, say them out loud and think about how you can solve this task. "70, 80. Find a way to check your solution before you press the check button. Place a point on the number line that is higher than this one. "4 is greater than 2. Good. Find another. You already used this solution. Try another. 5 is greater than 2. How about asking a classmate for help? They may be able to help you, and then you can try the next one on your own.
The weekly challenge feature is a way for you to work your brain. No risk to you. Have fun. Dig in and see what you come up with.
You have probably seen this before. I just wanted to point out how this also supports growth mindset. It's telling you that there's no risk, and it's just to stretch your brain and think and explore and converse about math and math language. And just as a reminder, it's grade appropriate. So if you switch to 5th grade, you're going to get much different questions that are grade appropriate. You have an X and Y axis on this one. And for kindergartners, you're counting shapes. If you want to help your students collectively in a collaborative environment, you can also go through some of the weekly challenges and look at them as a group and just explore different ways to talk about math and different ways to allow each different person to share their process. Kids have a lot of fun exploring the different ways to think about different questions and support each other or come up with their own idea based on something they heard somebody else say. That's always really exciting. And these are just fun. Okay, so while you're in your support tab, If you scroll down a little bit, you are going to see growth mindset ideas. You will see a plethora of ideas to grow your math classroom. These are all curated from different places that have really produced some nice impact on different classrooms. So check some of these out. If you click into them, not only will it go over the lesson itself, but will give you some suggestions for how to try it in your classroom.
Hi, my name is Leah Alcala. I teach 8th grade math, and this is my warm-up routine that I do with my students almost every day. I call it my favorite no. Okay. Good morning, you guys. Your warm-up is on the board. I'm going to hand out your index cards. I put a warm-up problem on the board, hand out index cards to all the kids, have them write their answer. I collect it, and then I sort it, and I say yes, no, yes, no. And I look for my favorite wrong answer or my favorite no, and we analyze that. 4 minutes to work on it. Everyone makes mistakes. We're gonna see your mistakes, you're gonna see my mistakes. But a mistake is your opportunity to share with me how much you understand. And if I don't know that you don't know something, I need to teach you before the test. The test is too late. And this is a great spot for me to teach you. Make sure your name is on your card. Put your pencil in your pencil slot and pass your cards to the center. I started my warm-up routine to replace clickers that a lot of classes are buying. So that was a clicker for each student. You ask a question, they lock in an answer. And then you look at your computer screen and you know what percentage of your students understand the problem. Well, we didn't have the money for that, so instead, okay, here we go. I thought, well, what if I gave everyone index cards, collected them real quick with their answers already written on it, and then I can just sort them as quick as possible and find out what percentage of my kids know the answer. No, yes, costs 40 cents instead of $15,000. Yes, so we have quite a few yeses and some very interesting no's. 1, 2, 3. I then took that a step further, something I couldn't do with clickers. Look at the ones who are getting it wrong. How far are they from getting it right? And showing that work to the other kids. Okay, my favorite no. Someone wrote this. I say it's my favorite no because I want the kids to first of all recognize what they're about to see is wrong. And I want them to recognize that there's something good in the problem. Like there's a mistake, but it's my favorite no because it showed some good math. So that's the wrong answer. But they did some things that I love. What in that problem am I happy to see? We always talk about what's right first, so that if it's any student's work, they are like, oh, I did do that right. There's a mistake, but the mistake didn't ruin the whole thing. What do I like about this problem? Gavin.
Well, they distributed both with the 4x and the -2.
Very nice. And what? Today's lesson was on factoring, so I needed to make sure they understood how to distribute. They distributed, and what lets you know that they distributed? David?
How there are no more parentheses.
There are no more parentheses, and they didn't just drop the parentheses. So they're asked to distribute a term with a variable. They're asked to distribute twice. They're asked to distribute a term with a negative sign, which is often a very common mistake that kids make. And my students do not. Like, I have 3 years of CST data now to show that one mistake my students do not make is distributing a negative, which is amazing because they used to all the time. Distributing -2 to -6 is +12. And that was one mistake I was absolutely looking for and I did not see, which made me very happy. Not until the very end, as we've gone over different sections of the problem that are right, that I will then ask, okay, now what is incorrect? What does this person not understand? Where's the mistake? If I get a third of my class raising their hand, ready to tell me the mistake. It's pretty high engagement at that point. Mia?
Like 4x times 2x equals 8x squared.
Very nice. This 4x times 2x multiplies to 8x squared. Can someone convince me of that? How do we know that 4x times 2x is 8x squared? My low-level students are very engaged. They feel like they're not getting penalized for being wrong. They're not being made fun of. I'm not looking at them. No, there's no peer pressure at this point. But they're like, wow, that's my mistake. And now I understand. It's very comforting. I mean, I feel very with my kids at all times. I'm not surprised by what they don't know. They're not surprised by what they don't know. It's how it should be. It creates more of a dialogue with me and them.
So that's one of many videos, ideas, and supports that are available here on this page, which is the growth mindset ideas for helping you implement these ideas into your classroom. So the challenge again is to maybe go through and pick one of these ideas, click on it, open up the Symphony Buzz that talks to you about that particular idea, gives you some background information, and then says, hey, what about trying this? We know a lot of these things that we ask or we share are out of the norm, and we know also that you are modeling growth mindset by taking these chances. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your teaching. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out to me.